All right, joining me now is head coach of the Wallhawks, Houston Guy. Coach, definitely a tough loss against Mason last week. Just go ahead and give me your overall thoughts on that game.
Most definitely a tough loss. I thought our kids played hard. We just come up short in the end, and it's one of those situations you hate to make excuses. We didn't play very good. We didn't play good enough to win, and I take full responsibility on that. And it's one of those situations. It's a tough place to play. You go into Mason, and you're gonna face a tough team with a well-coached team, and it's one of those situations where they played really good, and hats off to Mason. They got the win.
Defensively, y'all held Mason to 14 points, and some of that had something to do with the amount of turnovers that occurred anyway. It might not have even been that 14.
Right, no doubt.
Despite the loss, was that another just like positive look on y'all's defense?
There's a lot of things that we walked away that we felt really good about. I think our defense played lights out. There is some big stands in that game that night. We throw a ball that gets tipped, and they run it back down to about the 6. And I think if that ball doesn't get tipped, they definitely don't score on that possession and that drive. And it's one of those things. I felt like we gave them ample opportunities to win that ball game for sure.
And not to mention the guys in the secondary, they had multiple picks. I know Hagan Barbie had a heck of a game too. So,
right. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. On offense, again. Mason was big up front. I felt like, from what I saw anyway, that y'all were still able to move the ball on the ground. Like, was that a positive sign to you, or is it something that y'all feel like you still need to work on?
We got to be more consistent at it. It's one of those things. We got to start taking care of the ball. We got to start taking care of our drives, and we got to make sure we put more first downs. And we got to start making sure we convert those first downs into touchdowns.
Okay, so now non-district's over. Like, the record is what it is at this point. You finished 3-2. Played some really tough teams. I felt like it's a great way to see the growth of your team, to show your mistakes and whatnot. But now looking ahead to district, first off, let's just start with Great Creek this weekend. How do y'all feel about this matchup going into the?
We're going to work on the Hawks. We know we got Great Creek coming up on Friday, but we're fixing the things that the Hawks are doing, and we're not overlooking Great Creek. We're getting ready for Great Creek, but we've got so many issues that we had on Friday night that we addressed a lot of those this week, and we're working on some of our problems. Still getting ready for Great Creek, but some of the things that we do to ourselves are the reasons we lost that game, and we got to fix those.
So then let's just talk about that. Up to this point in the season, what are several things that you feel like that y'all already have corrected?
I think our offensive line is the blocking up front is coming around. It's not where it needs to be at this point in time. We still got to get better at securing the line of scrimmage. We felt like it got a little bit better, but I felt like Mason exposed some of our blocking up front on Friday night, and so we got to fix some of that.
Let's talk about y'all's secondary again. It's a group of guys that doesn't usually get the same amount of work as maybe your defensive front guys.
Right.
Just because you play a lot of teams to keep the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that group's progress?
Those guys have played lights out. We're going to miss one. Ryan Allen, he got hurt Friday night, and we're going to lose him for the season, and that's going to be a major loss for us. He did so much from offense to defense to special teams, and losing a kid like that, you don't just replace Ryan Allen. It's one of those guys that you're not just going to fit another kid in there and pick up the slack that the things Ryan did for us. And so we got some big shoes to fill there for Ryan. So the kids that come in and play secondary for him, they got some big shoes to fill, and the guys that come in and play for him in the special teams side, got some really big shoes to fill also.
Okay, and let's get on the other side of the ball real quick. Gunnar Dillard, he's now in his second year as a starter, throwing the ball a whole lot more than he did all of last year.
Right.
What are your overall thoughts on Gunnar's performance up until this point, despite the turnovers he had?
Yeah, I think there's some things that Gunnar's doing really good. I think we probably put more pressure on Gunnar than we probably need to. Gunnar does some really good things for us. Gunnar's an option quarterback, and sometimes we ask Gunnar to be a lot more than what he is. He's a very good option quarterback, and so we're going to go back to asking him to be, the option quarterback that he is.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks again for joining me, and go ahead and tell the folks out there when and where the game's at.
The game's going to be at Grape Creek on 7 o'clock on Friday night.
All right. Again, this has been head coach Houston Guy with the Wall Hawks.